Hi there, and welcome to this week's installment of Parenting Plus. I'm your host, Isabel Garcia. In this segment, we do a deep dive into all things impacting moms, dads, children, and families of all shapes and sizes. And I am very excited to have a very special guest with us here today. We have Katrina Irwin, who is the host of Golden Apple and a mom of two. Thanks so much for joining me today, Katrina.
Well, good morning. Thanks so much for having me.
Of course. And so for most viewers, I feel like they're familiar with you, going right into the classroom and interacting with the kids. But I wanted to start with talking just about your experience as the host of Golden Apple and just what it's like to be able to kind of see those moments and just, how long you've been doing it and what's so special about it.
Yeah, well, it's so much fun. So what we do is we surprise a teacher every single week during the school year who's been doing a really great job. And I have the lucky job of being able to read all the nominations, go through them, and try to choose, the best fit, the best teacher that I can find. And then we basically plan like a little surprise party for them. I talk to the principal, I talk to the student that nominated them, and then we go into the classroom and surprise them. And the best part is seeing their reaction, because we have some that cry, we have some that, are afraid of the camera and run away and try to hide. We have some that are just so stunned they have no idea what to do. So that's really the best part. But it's so nice to be able to give back to these teachers, because we know that their job is so important. And it's a way for families to be able to thank teachers that are doing a really exceptional job.
Yes. And we love, the setup. And you just mentioned it there too. So, anyone who nominated it, whether it's a student or another teacher, but that's such a unique perspective that you get to see, is to, really putting that person, in the situation to say, okay, well, this is someone else, and like, what are their, core values? And so what do you see? And I guess like from, all the years you've been doing this now, just what are some of the, I guess, most surprising reactions? You gave a handful of some of them.
Yeah, well, it's you just never know what you're going to get. That's the best part. And you never know who you're going to surprise either. I don't know sometimes from the nomination if it's a brand new teacher, if it's somebody young or with a lot of energy, or if it's somebody who's been teaching for, 20 or 30 years. So that's kind of, fun to see the difference, and they all make a big impact on the lives of kids. So, it's really a fun way for the kids to be able to give back, and, no two surprises are the same. And I tell everybody I have the best job. I've been doing these surprises for about 4 years now. Aww. And before that, I've worked in news. I mean, I've been here at Channel 8 since 2002. So I've done it all pretty much. But this is definitely one of the most fun assignments ever, because people are always excited. The kids are excited. And it depends on if you're just, gonna surprise high school kids or little kids. It makes a big difference too.
Oh my gosh, I can
the
only
high school
imagine.
Kids sometimes get a little rowdy and don't know what's going on. Yeah, sometimes they're sleepy. And then the little ones sometimes just don't even know that they need to clap. They're just kind of like sitting there like, what is happening? So it's
so
really is a lot of fun.
That's awesome. And I know, you mentioned too, just all the incredible work that all these teachers are doing, and just what a, positive way to highlight all of the care and the effort and the emotional, work that they're really putting into to raising our kids. And, as mentioned here as well, but you're also a mom of two, that, and I know when I first started here in January 22, my kids were 3 and 1.
Yours were babies.
They're so tiny. And I remember just being, able to have that instant bond to say, oh, another journal mom, but like in terms of, just, your experience as a mom here too, in this role, can you just talk to me about, your two kids and what it's been like?
Yeah, well, this has been a great fit for me because, I did the full-time news thing, and then I had kids, and then I took some time off, and then I came back. And so it's kind of been a back and forth, but this works out really well because my kids are old. They're in school. I have a middle schooler and a third grader. So they are, doing their own thing during the day. And so this is a really fun way for me to be able to still kind of be in the news business a little bit, and also be home for them when they get home from school and running them to their 8,000 activities at night. Because as you will see, when your kids get a little bit older, you become very busy in the evening hours. They have sports, they have instruments to play, they have all kinds of after school clubs and activities. So it is a very, very busy time.
Yes, I recall. So my kids just did this year flag football and flag cheer.
Okay.
And my husband and I, when we first signed up, we were like, first meeting, oh my gosh, this is like, we got like the 2 calendars, you know, to match up with everything. And then it was every single week, you know, all the practices and then the weekends, you know, to the
Yes.
competitions and the games. And it ramps up so quickly, but that's so special. And in terms of, you know, this season too, it's the first week of December. And so, you know, my family and I have been here for going on 4 years now, and definitely incorporated some traditions. But I wanted to ask you, you know, what are some of the, I guess, top tips that you might have, or, you know, some things that are special to you in this area for the holidays?
Well, it goes into overdrive at this time of year because not only do you have all the activities and all the sports, but now you're trying to fit in all the holiday stuff too.
Yep.
So, for example, yesterday we were visiting family for Thanksgiving and we drove 5 hours back. And then we immediately unloaded the car and went to Stokey Farm to get our Christmas tree.
Oh
because
my
I'm looking at
gosh.
the calendar and I'm like, I don't think we have another chance to do this
this
because
is it.
every weekend is booked from now until Christmas with dance recitals and basketball games and practices and all kinds of stuff. So that is one of my favorite things to do is go cut down a real tree. We always do that no matter the weather. It was starting to rain when we got there yesterday, but we got through it. It kind of stopped a little bit, so we didn't get soaked, thankfully, and we quickly found our tree and got it back home and got it all up and decorated. My house is a wreck. I need to go
my
food
gosh.
shopping, but at least we have the tree up.
All the lists in the background, though, it's like such a full-on mom mode. You know, we were saying I was here for the Sunday night shift, you know, for anchoring on the weekends, and you know, it's just when the calendar turned over to December 1st, you're like, oh my gosh, wait, all of the things just start as you know, just the tick 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 tick, and just shopping, and there's so many incredible markets and stuff to go to too. Are there any places? You know, Public Market just started the holidays at the market, and so many different little things to do.
There are so many things. And one of my favorite things that my kids did when they were actually more your kids' age, so like the younger, around kindergarten, a little bit younger, a little bit older, is letting them go shop for their parents. So a lot of like churches and PTAs have like these little events in different communities where you can spend like $1 and go in and shop for your parents. And it's like a fun little thing for the kids because they feel so independent, you know, doing this. And so when my son was in kindergarten, the PTA at his school did this, and it was in the cafeteria at school, and they got all kinds of things donated, you know, for the kids to shop, and all the money went to the PTA.
That's so cute. It's right at the school.
It was right at the school
that's
that
great
year.
idea. Yes.
Yeah, and there's so many of these all around, so I'm not going to
cool.
name any specific ones, but I know that there's, you know, if you look on a calendar, you can find one for sure.
Oh, yes.
But he shopped, and I'm going to show you. I brought in what he brought home. He thought this is what my husband, his dad, would want for Christmas. And it's one of my favorite memories because it's like, what is going through this kindergartner's head that he thinks like, yes, Dad would love this giant rubber shark.
I love that so much. It's a whole
we have
different
kept
meaning to
it.
Baby Shark.
He's in middle school now, and he got this in kindergarten, but we have kept it, and I just kind of keep it, you know, tucked away. But it's one of my favorite memories. So I think giving the kids a chance to kind of go out and do their own shopping and seeing what they come up with it's hysterical.
Sweet. Oh my gosh, I love that.
funny.
It just jogs my memory, you know, between Baby Shark, but we read this book called Santa Jaws at night, but I can imagine like, you know, putting like a little Santa hat or something on the shark every year. Do you break it out every Christmas, like for decorations?
I keep it in kind of like this hallway in our basement. It's just kind of, it's not something that we see or go in very often, but every time I walk down those stairs, I kind of laugh because I just see it sitting there.
Oh my gosh, that is so sweet.
Yeah, so
no,
that's funny.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Thank you so much for bringing that in. That's so wonderful. You know, we have I would definitely do. I came from a family that did, you know, the real tree every year. I've never actually cut down my own tree though. So yes, I know there's a ton. We've had a couple, you know, reporter stories just about, you know, whether or not the drought had impacted any of the trees and stuff, but they say it won't be for some time, but you know, quite the experience. I imagine, do they have all the supplies there? Like, what do you have to do?
So most of the tree farms have like saws that you can use. There's one tip though. My husband always remembers to bring a plastic garbage bag because you have to kneel on the ground to actually cut the tree. And if you don't bring anything to kneel on, your pants are going to be all full of mud. And especially yesterday it was raining. So that would be my little tip, is to always make sure you bring a garbage bag or something that you can kneel on so that you can get down low and cut the tree.
I can imagine like all the pine needles and stuff.
Yeah. And most of them have like a shaker. So once you get the tree and bring it back, they shake all the loose stuff off. And then they like put this rope like
Yes.
mesh stuff around
right.
it to
Yep.
kind of
Yep.
keep it tight so you can get it home. But
Oh my gosh.
yeah,
So
we do it
exciting.
every year.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know, I'm one of those people, I stick with tradition. My parents
Yeah.
always cut their own tree down. And
Aw.
my dad, you know, sometimes he didn't want to actually like pay
Okay.
to go cut a tree down. So he would just like go into the woods because they had a lot of land. He had a farm.
Oh,
So we
great.
would just go into the woods to try to find a tree. Well,
Oh
let me
my
tell you,
gosh.
they look very different than the ones that are
Like the
perfectly
actual tree
shaped at the
farm.
tree farm.
So was it like an actual, like, you know, the Peanuts Christmas
was-
special
well,
with like the little tree?
We were aiming for the top of a very large tree because that
Okay.
looked nice from a distance. And then once we got it down and in the house, we realized that there were branches missing. So he actually drilled holes and stuck like more branches
Oh
in to try and fill it out. And let's just say
That's
those did not
amazing.
make it till Christmas.
Oh, it's just like the tree starts falling apart.
Yeah, I would not recommend that.
Oh
but
my
yeah,
gosh,
that was
too
something
funny.
I always remember when I was a kid.
Oh,
so it
that's
was fun.
awesome. Traditions are so special, and it's
Yeah.
been so fun just being able to incorporate, you know, new ones. You know, this definitely feels like a year that we've been here, as mentioned, this is our 4th year
Yeah.
here in Monroe County, and I still have not been to the holiday market yet at the public
You gotta
market,
do
but
that. That's a good
definitely
one.
need to check
Yeah,
that out.
Bundle up.
Yes. I know. And there's all, you know, the events with the reindeers, and there's so many different, you know, areas, of course, you know, our region too, you know, the Ontario County, and there's,
Yes.
I know the Christmas lights. My mom, growing up in Montgomeryville, Pennsylvania, would always drive us around to all the different holiday lights, but I know
Yes.
that's a big one here too.
Yep,
And
there's a lot of people that go, a lot of neighborhoods that go all out with like music that
Yes,
like
the ones
times
that
the
queue up.
lights, and those are great.
Oh.
And the Shortsville Reindeer Farm, I've
Ooh,
taken my
okay.
kids there, and that's a lot of fun.
Real
you
reindeer.
can actually see a
Love that.
real reindeer,
Oh
and they
my
tell you all about them. You learn all these facts about
That's
reindeer that you
so
would have
cool.
never known. So that's definitely on the list.
Oh, that's
The
awesome.
George Eastman House gingerbread display.
Yes.
Maybe for kids that are a
Oh
little
my
bit more
gosh.
older and appreciate how much work
Yes.
goes into a
Maybe
gingerbread
my 7-year-old,
house.
maybe not the 5. Well, I don't
Yeah.
know, personality wise, maybe the 5-year-old, not the
They
7.
might both enjoy it. You know, it's really cool. I'm like always so impressed. I
That's
mean, I
incredible.
can't even believe how
And they're
they do
handmade
it.
each year.
Different people make them and they send them in, and
Oh
they're
my God.
amazing. I
That
mean,
is
I am one
incredible.
of those people that just slaps
You do
it
the ginger
together.
hut? Yeah, I was gonna
does
say.
it as quickly as possible. Sticks
like-
a few gumdrops on there, and I'm done. Like I
The-
don't have the patience for it. But
Right.
these
Yeah.
people are
The Pinterest
artists.
look and then like what actually happens.
Yeah.
The
that
reality.
look nothing like each other.
That's too
for
great.
sure.
Well, and I wanted to also touch on too, because you brought up a good point earlier, you know, where you said, you know, there's all of the things to do, but just also, you know, is there anything, I guess, that you guys do as a family, you know, just to kind of keep in the moment too, where it's like there's so many options, and eventually kind of come full circle where we're like, okay, you know, we do the cookie decorating with grandma, you know,
Yeah.
at her apartment, but you don't have to do everything.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it all.
Yeah, I would say just try to be in the moment. Like yesterday is a perfect example. I had a
Oh,
million
sure. Mm-hmm.
things to do after being away for 4 days, but we went and got the tree, and I just totally focused in on decorating it with the kids. We had the Grinch on the TV, we had Christmas music playing, and that was it. Like I wasn't worried about the piles of laundry or what we were having for dinner or any of those other things. It was like sometimes you have to just hit pause and enjoy it because
Yes.
they grow so fast.
Oh my
Everybody
gosh.
says that,
Oh.
and I'm sure you're sick of hearing it, but it's like
It
I feel
is.
like yesterday my kids were your kids' ages.
I
Like
know.
it's, they
I
just
feel
get
like
so quick. So
I
old so quick.
remember you saying when I first moved here, my kids' ages right now are where your kids' ages were when I first moved here, and you said it's just gonna go by so fast,
And
and
it's-
yeah, I blinked.
Yeah, it's so easy
real.
to get caught in the because
It
I mean
is.
our family calendar. I have a big dry
Oh,
erase
yes.
calendar on the wall in
Love
the
it.
kitchen, and it looks like a Tetris board. I mean, I am
Yes.
constantly moving things around, trying to
my
like make it all work.
Yes.
because they just are involved in so many things.
Right.
But it's like at the holidays, you have to just kind of block out days and be
Yep.
like, look, we maybe have to miss a practice here or
Yeah,
there because
and
this is what we
prioritize
gotta
that,
do.
and it's
Yeah.
gonna be okay, and everything will be all right, and you can enjoy the moment, and mom can enjoy the holidays as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
exactly.
thank you so much, Katrina. I think that's all the time we have right now, but I want to thank you so much for
Well,
taking the
thanks for
time to
having
talk
me.
with us, of course. And I wanted to thank you all for joining us for this week's installment of Parenting Plus. And when we come back, we will have Deb Ross from Rochester Kids Out and About to talk about all of the different options you guys have for activities out there. Not all of them you have to do, but lots of options. Thanks so much. Hi, Hi there, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for this installment of Parenting Plus. We are coming back here with a new guest for the second half of this series. So I'm super excited to be joined by Deborah Ross, a publisher with KidsOutandAbout.com. Deb, thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Izzy. I'm glad to be here.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And so we're kind of continuing the theme. I mentioned we were talking with Katrina earlier just about, the holiday season. We're officially in December. It's snowing out. It's certainly feeling
Yes.
in our region. It's certainly feeling like the holidays out there. And there are just so many things to do. So you, as the publisher for Kids Out and About, kind of collect all of the information. And as I mentioned, right before we got started here, you were really the first resource that I went to that I discovered when I had first moved here, had the little kids, but there's so many things to do. And so can you just talk to me about the resource that is KidsOutandAbout.com?
Sure, absolutely. Well, we are just about to enter our 25th year of publishing. And it all started when I had a toddler and one on the way back in 2001, when there was really no such thing as a web calendar. But Rochester is so amazing with the kinds of resources and activities and options for families who have all kinds of interests that I thought, there should be one place everybody can go to find out about everything happening, and also like all the resource lists. So I thought, well, I can create something like that. And so I did. My background is in marketing technology. So at that point, I did it as a community service, but then it just grew, and now we're all over North America, and
incredible.
52 regions in the U.S. and Canada. So we're the model worked,
Yes.
and each organization locally that has stuff to do or resources for families gets a free account and can just post to the calendars, and everybody gets to see it all in one place.
That is just so fantastic and just such an incredible resource for that one-stop shop. And
Yep.
in terms of just all of the many options out there in our region, and I know we have, kind of Monroe County specific has so much going on, but then as well, our Globe region for our viewers in Rochester and beyond. But in terms of, let's say, because I've been very, very nostalgic this year. We've been here, my family and I, for this will be our fourth holiday season here.
sure.
So it's super exciting, but, definitely feeling well, established in the area and just, kind of continuing and establishing those new traditions over the years. But in terms of just the staples, what are some of the biggest highlights for you for our region?
Absolutely. Well, one of the things is, even just completely for free, the creativity of our area with people decorating their houses. We have a list of 150 houses you can travel to all throughout the area. So I talk to everybody every year, and they say, yes, they're going to be lit, and they give me the little specifics. And so we have a driving tour that's broken up into all the different sort of segments. So everybody can, download their own or go across the city, because some of the regions like Irondequoit and Greece and Gates, holy moly, they are it's almost like people are competing with each other. It just got accented during the pandemic when people couldn't do anything. And so like all the Christmas lights and decorations sold out, and now we're still experiencing the benefit of that. So that's completely free, right?
That's
Pack
amazing.
the kids in the car. Get out a map, look at it online. That you could do that in the car now, and kids can see where it is they're traveling to. So they get both the sense of that regular people can be so creative, and it becomes a tradition unto itself. You point, you turn on your radio to the specific frequency, you hear the music. That's now all timed
That's
with these lights.
amazing.
Yeah, and so having this list for so long, I got to really know some of the homeowners too. They're
That's
great.
incredible. That's amazing. And just thinking back to my own childhood, I grew up in the Philly area, and my mom would do that, like drive around to all the houses. But that's just establishing that kind of wonder and that sense of awe for the kids, I think, is just so magical. And that's amazing that there's so many options out there.
Yeah, there really are. So that's just the home's free things alone.
yeah.
But we have a list of 101 holiday happenings here in the Rochester area. So to your first question, some of the staples, we've got Jiva Christmas Carol, right? That's been going for so long. It's had different iterations over the years, but that's running through December 28th. And so that's now Jiva Theater Center, kids 5 and up only. So kids younger than 5 aren't at Jiva. We have the Sweet Creations tradition at George Eastman Museum. And so that is,
Trina mentioned that one.
and frankly, so this is gingerbread houses that go all through the Eastman Museum, but it's something that connects. Again, I'm always looking to connect kids and families with the community and to give them a sense that real people make things happen.
Yes.
And so because at the George Eastman Museum, you have this whole range of types of houses, from families who create them or Girl Scout troops that create them, all the way through the professionals, they see like things as being possible for them in a
Yes.
way that that doesn't necessarily strike you as a kid, right? Because to a kid, everything is magic.
Yes.
I remember bringing my daughter to the Rochester Children's Book Festival for the first time, and I said, we're going to meet the people who wrote these books and we'll get them signed. And she looked at me and she said, Mommy, you mean people make books?
Oh my God.
And so it just doesn't occur to you as a parent
Right.
that this is their first time in the world.
Yes.
How would they know?
Oh,
And
that's
so
incredible.
because everything is magical, it makes the holiday season especially useful because you can sort of use the leverage of the magic of the holiday season and feel the magic yourself. And that's something that I'd like to emphasize to parents whenever I see them. You're experiencing joy in the world and doing that vividly to your kids, just being you and being happy about things or being interested in things, that is everything to a kid. It's not just your job to teach them and connect them. It's to experience it yourself. And also the other thing to remember is the things that make you happy aren't necessarily, or excited or interested, aren't necessarily the things that make them interested or happy or excited. And so the idea over the course of a childhood, making sure that they are interested in, or at least exposed to all kinds of things, stuff that you like and make you happy and like you watch them make, but stuff that's not your cup of tea, but you never know if it's theirs. So my kids did soccer. I took them to the opera. I had them try martial arts. None of these things were my things. I wasn't really interested in. But my daughter became a black belt because
Whoa,
that lit her on fire, right? I mean, in a good way.
Yes, absolutely.
And so that's why the holiday season is great here, because there are so many different types of things
Yes.
to try, and to remember that you don't have to do it all one year is
Absolutely.
a super important thing. So getting out our 101 holiday list and going through it with your kids, remembering the things that you have done and talking with them about that to sort of pull their past into the present. That's what memories are all about. That's what experiences are all about. After the experience, you have the memory. So going through those memories and then looking at the rest of them and saying, what could we do this year that's new? What could we do this year that's traditional? So they get a sense of past and present, and then also future, that this is what people do, within the realm of what they can afford and what is interesting to them.
I love that so much. And you touch on so many, just, I think, crucial points, all kind of holistically really is, just so special. My daughter, she's 7. And this year she said, she expressed an interest in wanting to go ice skating. I have no idea how to ice skate. I don't know. But, there's the free ice skating down, right in Rochester at the rink. And so, my husband and I are looking at the calendar and we're like, okay, how are we going to make this work? But that's something that just on her own, out of nowhere, she just expressed, she wanted to do ice skating. And then even, this is the first week of December, we're recording this, and it was, a little snowy out, and they just were playing in the snow, right before school, just having a little moment. And it was just such a, capture a little video, but just really being present, right? I know it's like kind of that cliche, but present is you.
There's reasons for cliches, and
Right.
that's true. And the nice thing about her interest in ice skating is if you do it once, and one of the things they didn't have when I was a kid, they have those things you can hold on to now as you're skating, which is great because, it reduces the bruises, but, keeps the fun and helps you develop confidence. But then also, wherever you look, there's a way to take that further. So you could have her do skating lessons if this lights her on, ice lighting you on fire is a little bit of an oxymoron.
The fire in your belly.
Right,
is
but
my-
you can
yes.
then go over to Tim Hortons anytime. They have all of these public, Tim Hortons Iceplex, they have public skate, and they also have skating lessons. And then they even have days where you can introduce your kids to skating and even introduce you, the adult, to skating.
That's so
They have these special days. So yeah, I mean, look around, in our area just delivers.
Oh, that's incredible. That's amazing. You also touched on a good point too that Katrina and I actually spoke about, which was to not think that it's just a giant child. Like, I have to do all these things,
no.
right? And that's something that I've definitely had to practice over the years, is choosing, and it's okay to say no, to doing all of the things, but there's options, as you mentioned, and being able to kind of talk about it as a family and say, okay, well, maybe we can't do that, but really, oftentimes I find that it is just like, come outside and play in the snow with me, is that, but there's just so many incredible options out there.
Yeah.
And I was also going to say, I know that you wanted to talk about just also giving.
Yes.
It's the season of giving for
it
kids.
is.
And so how to establish that as part of the tradition as well.
Right. So, kids, when they're very young, don't really know that other people have thoughts or needs. That's something that they grow into. And that's not really obvious to everybody when you first have, but then when you first have the baby, my husband used to call them protoplasm before they could think, but like that was before he had them.
Yes.
Then after he had them, he didn't think that much.
Right.
But they grow into this kind of awareness at that there are other people. And it's only as they get a little bit older that they realize that other people have needs that maybe they're in a different position than those other people, right? And so how to introduce them to that gently is really useful. And so that you're not emphasizing, really bad conditions that some people are in, but like, how do we take all that we have and then by giving a little bit of that to somebody else, that actually means more to them than it does to us.
Yes.
Right. And so one of the things to do is like to go and donate toys, to kids in our area. There's a bunch of options for that. I love the Pirate Toy Fund because especially it all stays local. And so the Pirate Toy Fund gives toys to kids throughout the area all through the year, right? Kids who are in need, in hospitals, in the court system, in the legal system, through all kinds of agencies, but also especially at this time of year. And that's when it's easy for a child to leap into another child's skin, somebody just like them, and imagine what kind of toy they would like. And so if parents take the lead on going out and about to shop with their children, to then imagine the kind of joy that if you would like this, imagine what that child would like. And so making that a natural part of your tradition helps kids grow into a sense of generosity and also a way to sort of extend their own efficacy beyond just their own tiny little sphere.
Yes.
And then become adults who do that.
Absolutely, just kind of ingrained in just the practice of it, right? I've seen the posts on Instagram and stuff that was just like the little box right before, and we've been trying to kind of hand off, and I was mentioning we have two little cousins on the way, but just to say, okay, well, there's some room, we're going to expect for some, new toys, new things. So let's get a box together and give some of the ones that we don't play with as much to somebody else.
And, one thing to do, so sometimes kids aren't great at responding if they don't like a gift that they're given.
Oh, yes.
Right? When they're little. But I know a family who sort of conditioned their kids that was a great thing. Because when they're given a gift that's not really their cup of tea, like Aunt Ida, just gives them Candyland and they're like too old for candy or something like that. The response, if they're thinking, oh, somebody's going to love this, is then genuine joy. They don't actually have to put it on. Yeah. They just imagine who's going to love that game or that toy that maybe just did not hit the target. And so by like sort of conditioning them to have that, whether it's birthdays or Christmas or whatever, you start to cultivate that understanding of that we are in a community and we try to spread the joy around, and like then they can respond joyfully when they get handed something that they don't really need.
I love that so much. That's such a beautiful application of that. I think that's fantastic, and definitely something that's inspiring me to establish in our family. And I think too, I know we only have a little bit of time here to wrap up, but in terms of just emphasizing the joy for the parents as well.
Absolutely.
I think that's so incredible, and it's so easy to get caught up in all of the tasks to do, and we got to do this, and just even getting through the snow and everything day to day, with the holidays, managing all of the days off and stuff. But what would you say, I guess, to I remember first becoming a parent, when I almost had to relearn how to have fun.
Sure.
So what's I guess any insights you might have for parents to just kind of keep that perspective during the season?
Absolutely. To give the gift of experiences, whether it's a literal gift of a membership at a local attraction or just a little, here's what we're going to do. Here's this thing we're going to do as a family. So that a gift, like that, to acknowledge it, it's a gift and it's exciting, but we are going to have this experience together, whether now or in the future. And that is a gift we're privileged to have here in the Rochester area because there's just so many options. Memberships make amazing gifts. You don't have to put them on the shelf, and they give you memories that last forever, unlike the stuff that is going to break at some point. But yeah, so we are rich here. It's important to remember.
So many resources. Well, Deb, thank you so much for coming on. That is all the time we have for this installment. And we want to thank you all so much for joining us for this week's segment of Parenting Plus.
Get the Rochester First streaming app today for everything you love from News 8 On Demand, plus exclusive shows you won't see anywhere else. Search ROC and download for free on Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV.